Huh? Oh. He's on. All right. So if you would be so kind, give this man a round of applause. He's going to read the introductions. And we will take care of business forthwith to toot sweet and whatnot.
Welcome to Sacred Grounds. I'm Dan Brady.
Thank you.
The current host of this, the longest running open mic in the known and unknown universe, serving up good food and fine poetry since 1972. Let's have a big hand for Teddy and Fiona, our hosts. And please support this reading by enjoying the food and drinks served here. Please respect the mic, keep conversations to a whisper, put devices on mute, vibrate, or airline mode. Tonight's feature is...
Oh, it's in the Norman Zelaya. Norman Zelaya is the feature of this evening, but he is not here yet.
But he is not here yet. The keynote will be...
Melissa, M-E-L-L-A, I don't know how to say that. Okay, I was going to say that, but I could be, Melissa Mella is our keynote.
While the mini feature is...
May well be Karen Melander Magoon, but she may not be able to make it, so we'll find out when that time comes.
And the last word will be by...
Whoever is last, because we have no one who decided to volunteer for that position.
Should I read all this?
Yes, then you read the rest of that.
Please note the link. Streaming is handy in many ways. If you can't be here, you can view in the link. If you want someone see you to, this is not well written. If you want someone to see you live, they'll be able to. Want to hear so-and-so's poem again? Well, you can. Want to do a self-critique? No problemo. That's not a word. More importantly,
it is now.
It is a way to put out the word. I refer to the ongoing theme.
Well, yes, that's the ongoing theme.
I see the ongoing theme, which is, okay. Never doubt that a small group of committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. And it's credited to Margaret Mead.
In case you don't know.
Although I'm pretty sure I said it first. Tonight's theme is...
tonight's theme is existence, the theme of the evening. The ongoing theme is different than the existence is the current evening's theme. You do not have to respond to either of those two themes, however, they are advisory. Huh?
I have my existence card.
Mine was
going to be revoked.
Fabulous door prizes.
Oh, fabulous. Let me introduce the fabulous door prizes here. David Halbert Stam's The Best and the Brightest, rich, entertaining, deeply moving. We cannot help but feel the compelling power of his narrative. Overwhelming, says. The uncorrected page proofs, not for sale, inside the Lost Museum. So this is a thing that's coming up. Hasn't been published yet, so they tell me. The Last Cowboys of San Geronimo, a novel by Ian Stansel. No, we'll talk. We'll figure it out. He's just doing this. Never mind. Okay. Norma Zora Neale Hurston's Their Eyes Are Watching God, in case you don't know that. Then we have the second common reader, which is not really so common. It's very uncommon. And These Possible Lives by Fleur Jegi. I don't know how to pronounce that. It's the advanced reader's copy again. Beautiful. And then we have, it looks like Gypsy by Bette Midler. Someone gave me this DVD to put up here. And if none of those float your boat, shake your tail or whatever it is, then there's the co-pilot, which David is here today doing. He's the co-pilot today. The Last Word, which of course no one took from before. Choosing next week's theme. Existence was, I can't remember who told me that, but someone gave me existence.
I'll do the last word tonight if no one...
Okay, there we go. And the mini feature, which you will see later on, and the keynote, which you will see in a moment. Is there anything else? The bases.
Yes. Lastly, if you wish to record someone, please ask permission. I will assume that you've done so should I notice recordings being made.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Give him a round of applause. Very bravely done. Thank you. All right. Now, before we get to the keynote of the evening, I just have something to read very quickly. This is my infamous Proposition 1. And a long story, but I'm just going to read it, and then I ask for an ascension of hands up, yes, or hands down, meaning you're abstaining. So Proposition 1 reads this thusly: We, the party of the first part, all citizens of any nations, all those who suffer from the effects of war, who oppose it as a system, as a behavior, as a socially accepted institution, do hereby submit Proposition 1 for approval, that warfare is the worst crime, being that it embodies and encourages and rewards all others, that while we may take the definition used at the Nuremberg trials, or others as we may accept, we stand opposed to war as we know it, that we the people, the party of the first part, state by our assertion here that we are opposed to the existence or use of military force as we now know it, that we the people would have an end to war, cessation of all hostilities, the standing down of all forces, and universal disarmament. Amendments to follow. So this, I'm just asking for an ascension to anybody, those who stand in agreement, opposed, abstain, then motion passes. I do this every week. Eventually, other people will say, maybe, why don't you do that? So Papa one passes yet again. So let's see if there's anything else. Oh, I'm Dan Brady. I forgot to say that, but he said that. He said he was me, but that's all right. You know that's not true.
Well, it was written on the thing. You said to read it on the thing.
He's Dan Brady now.
Took your words literally.
We can have two Dan Bradys.
Thank you. We can have more than one of me. They broke the mold, so that my mom said.
We got the Brady Bunch.
Yeah. So I have to ask you, do you want to do like the calling of the names or
I don't know the name.
Okay, so then, well, this is just, I just keep it focused and.
I'll watch it.
Okay, all right. And we'll both do this. All right, so now last week is my understanding that Melissa came here and she watched. She did not read, but this is her first time reading here as the keynote. She'll also come back for the open. So we have a tradition here, which I forewarned her about, but some of you do not know that. When we have a new person, we not only clap, but we whistle, holler, stomp, pound the table, clink the glasses, make animal noises. The future has just walked in. Am I give him a round of applause? I knew that was going to happen. So, what we just did there is a warm-up. So when we have someone come up, we really try to make them feel very, very welcome. And I didn't start this tradition, but I loved it. So, Melissa, would you kindly come forward, please? Give her a nice round as she comes up there. Feel welcome?
Yes.
Okay. We're happy. Oh yeah, we got it. There we go. All right.
So the first poet I'm going to read is a gender non-conforming, trans feminine, queer person of color named Alak Vaid Manan, and they're pretty amazing. So you should check them out. This is called Writer's Block. There is no such thing as writer's block for a people who have been forcibly silenced. It's not that we have nothing to say, it's that we have grown so used to keeping quiet that we don't even remember the words to explain what happened to us anyways. Silence is not a coordinate on this body we can pinpoint, mark with an X. This is where my father taught me to hate myself. This is where my people lost our language. This is where my voice died inside of me. Every word feels like a ghost of what I meant to say. Does that make sense? Every conversation feels like a eulogy for some person I haven't even met yet. Do you understand? This is what happens when a body is forced to rehearse silence, to practice silence until it is perfect. To hold silence is a daily ritual, so tightly choreographed that when you do not hear us speak, remember, we are professionals. Consider how many times we have done this before. Bravo. So when you ask me why I haven't been writing, I want to take you back to elementary school, where they showed us diagrams of our bodies, with lungs that breathe and bones that break, but they never told us where all the feelings go. And I've been trying to figure out ever since. Clung onto man and pen, but failed to trust either. Fell into love and dream, and came out with skin knees from both. So when the doctor asks me what's wrong, I take off my shirt, give him a pencil, have him trace the muscles on my back until he finds that point where I stopped standing up for myself when the pressure got too much. Draw an X there. Remember the spot. How do you treat silence? How do you prescribe that? How do you teach a body to stop speaking itself out of existence? In this world, a diagnosis requires words, and there are no words for this. There is just me and this emptiness. There is just me and this emptiness. There is just me and this emptiness. And that is enough. Maybe we are so silent because we have been made terrified of what we are capable of saying. Because I don't remember my first word, but I can tell you that every time I write, it feels like I'm speaking for the first time again. I have looked in mirrors my entire life and not recognized the face staring back until I wrote a poem and remembered what I look like on the inside. And I do not believe in God, but I have seen my own hands make things that I do not recognize with my own eyes. Our art is a ceremony to remember all of the feelings we had to kill just to survive. Our poetry is self-medication, administered through the tongue in lethal doses. Consume it at your own risk. And until then, remember, you have the right to remain silent.
Wow.
Didn't I tell you we kicked it off well? So I forgot to mention this, the attribution sheet, which she read something by someone else, so I hand her this and that pen, and she writes down who it was and the name of the poem, so I don't always write Charge of the Light Brigade by Charles Hawtrey on the Deaf Aid.
Owen Dunkel, you're up next.
Owen Dunkel, come on, give him a nice round, please. Thank you.
I didn't know, that's fine.
Oh, I didn't know. No, go ahead. Go ahead. I didn't know you were going to do two. That's fine, you have
I didn't
time.
know how much time I had.
Oh, you had 5, but that's okay. Go ahead. Sorry, it was a misunderstanding here. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll do, sorry.
That's my bad.
Rocket Girl. This is one of my favorite poets. His name is W.B. Keckler. None of his poems are titled. How old is this darkness anyway? It scared me when I realized energy consumed in acts of love leaves us these black reflections that could be charcoal drawings on obsidian. Differing rusts will model leaves above. The world is used. It does not matter. Should we discriminate between the snow's voice and black puddles and this waterfall of static on this television, which is unconscious? Voices of pilots bleed through. Their voices are fuzzy white fragments lacking definition that enter our dreams. Maybe they are saying they are lost above. We must keep arranging the changes to stay alive. You grow tired. There was an old one-room schoolhouse where the roof had given up. It was snowing inside, too. Pines hid it from the road. Nearby was thick forest the primers talked about, and probably we should have wandered through more slowly, if only to hear how the ground made silence, and maybe see a fox peek out in good manners.
Thank you so much. Just take this to your seat and then get it back to the Thank you. Talk about it, Gabe. Okay, so be back to the open. All right, and now Mr. Owen Dunkel is next. Then we have Buford, then Bob, then Clara, then Quincy. Quincy, are you here? Where's Quincy? Oh, so you're new.
Yeah.
We get the same kind of like probation. Quincy, new, and then we got Tom. Tom, you're new. Tommy. Tommy?
Oh, no, Tommy's good.
Oh, okay, all right.
Been a while, man.
All right, so give him a chance, please, and then we'll get started. Go, Mr. Owen. Thank you. Oh, you have to. This is. Oh, yeah. I see. You want to just have it.
Some of you might not have heard this before. Bob Shoe, a memoir after Steve Carolyn. Bob Shoe, spelled S-C-H-U-H instead of S-C-H-O-E, and I went hiking along a trail in the Angeles National Forest. We met Emily and Marie and Milton the evening, and the whole San Gabriel Valley glittered below us. We were merely in high school. He went to Muir and I went to Loyola. And we sang this song reminiscent of a Bill Malden cartoon. We are two soldiers marching from whorehouse to whorehouse. Bob got married, later got married to Donna McCluskey at age 19. The marriage lasted a while, and later Bob joined the Peace Corps and unfortunately contracted cancer. He is an old friend and is still alive, thank God. His friend, the Ishmael-like Owen Dunkel, that's me, has written a short prose piece to him. Cafe Simon. Fish along the dotted line, the Admiral Benbow admired the folly and verse. Silence the silliest giggling hustler looked at his stopwatch and pondered, brooding afar, laugh along dotted lines, hurrah from heaven, the castle, the night scalp, the drawbridge. I'm fearful at the Volta, puncture the picture, fish and be jolly. The trolley lumbers along the window, wish the trash could talk. I am gossipy and begging the air for 14 lines. Martyred men say less mean more. Fog. The fog is like misty, moisty cement. It cowers near the ocean, as inevitably it will blow away. Palm at Starbucks. Sally's salad days, my origins have the species, ladders, cough, or crows. Carry on constable, constipation scares Hayden Caruth. Killer courses can be happy all day, the truth talks back. Candy for dandies, 2 arrows, loss of virginity. Cash for the captain bars the way. The wheel wanders to the woodshed. Heaven is a harangue, folks for the forecastle. Night watch. The night watches and waits over us. The quiet noise hath its way. The night quick pace. Darkness never out of reach. A metaphor is finally realized. Finally mine, not yours. Poem Starbucks. Below wood, we are fast and furious, pushy, punky in particular. Feasting and forgetting about fornicating, getting and spending the day. We lay waste, doggerel, jogging, can say my name in public. Sesame and sixpence, sexy all. Salvo of Variations, or Lawrence Ferlinghetti as a metaphor that I envy. Something about bugs eating little fishes in the forest, soon to be gobbled up by the big silky sky-made roar, proud forest lions, and the rain-soaked day on Terrible and 27th. Puddles are pools and people of darkness of the worship of the arabesques of the strut of its language, swinging through the trees. People are different, people are the same.
Thank you very much, Mr. Owen.
Thank you very much.
Buford, you're up.
All right. Give him a round, please. He comes up.
I got away from this for a while, but I can't escape it. I had too many sisters and brothers, and unfortunately a couple of them are gone, but here's some stuff about the ones who are still around. Melissa, my oldest younger sister, the Alabama-born woman, 60 years old, with 2 grandchildren, ran off when she was a married 16-year-old spent time in juvenile hall because she couldn't pay for some magazines there. She is a sweet woman, and after my late sister, my ex-brother-in-law and I we rescued her as a teenager. She's been in Alabama since, growing up and giving birth to Shannon, her daughter, and helping with those, 2 grandkids. The only of us Bunton children to maintain a long-term marriage besides me. The two of us get along well, at least on Facebook. Happy birthday, sis. Here's the one I don't get along with at all. This is Cheryl. The more self-serious and the youngest of my siblings has a couple of kids herself. She and I are not favorites of each other, I think, because I was angry with my father for not paying me in the family fishing tackle business. I had been feeding my mother in bed when she was dying of emphysema. I did not go to her funeral. Cheryl was and is the kid, the youngest, and could be cantankerous if that can be applied to the baby of the family. And this is my brother Mike the Jock. Mike, the most talented baseball player in the family, was a 4-time All-Star in 2 consecutive leagues. He had a hard time making a living since our father, along with our older brother John, who worked in the fishing tackle shop together when they died. Mike and I, I'm skipping that part, I'm repeating myself. John killed himself. Mike has not left a town with no real economy. He is 64 years old. We got any more time?
Yeah, you got about a minute, a little.
Okay, well, I'll do this quickly. Snaggle. Snaggletooth kid. Pink pants. Dad figure holds hands. Puzzle box. In Yi's Chinese restaurant. Butcher walks by. Friendly smile for the precocious.
And Buford Bunton. That's Buford.
Bob Gordon.
Bob Gordon.
Thank you for using the mic, Bob.
I've been doing it for
Yeah,
Brett.
Good.
all right, everybody knows. These are 3 poems which I picked out before I knew the theme, and they happened to fit nicely into the theme, I think. Ghosts returning, spooks in the hallway, spooks on the stairs, seeking someone who they know not. May they seek who shall not find, the spooks driving them from humankind, which strives the spooky meaning of their spooky lives. They say confusing meaning, driving still, the spooky meaning that controls their will. Not us, not this time, not to come again, but someone whom they know who cares, that they find rising, going down, this way, that way it is, we know who stares, who sees. They say it is no, it isn't, yes, it is me. Spooks going this way, spooks going that. Cool as a thing they see going everywhere. May they be the thing they seek for you, for me, and find the page upon the book they seek in joy. For you, for me, it is the same. They seek, they name, and find the word. We find the meaning lost and found that blows our mind. Out the door to find the stairs that goes in steps, the ups and downs of strife where God once slept. Part 2, Ghost returns. So let us sleep and let us speak words that rend us weak to make sentences that make us strong. Not only day but night as well, the light together and apart, but only light that sees the heart. And this shall be the final touch. one can know and know, and yet one who loves and loves can only love and never know, and never love too much. And this is called What Want. I was feeling frustrated. What want, what need, what have not to want or desire, what why or wherefore, what plenitude, what fire, what of the heart or mind, what way, what lost path for the end of day, what found relief, what burden grief unwound and going on with it, what flame, what unnamed ire finding it unfound, what burning essence, what sweet fluorescence, what light, what effervescence in the fall of night, what rise of day, what last surprise on the solitary way, what path, whatever living, breathing that will die at last, what pain, what god of heaving breast that still wants an aim, whatever turning earth where the best go insane, whatever endeavor is called for in this, whatever never, whatever can be rightly missed, whatever truly lost, whatever rage, whatever weeping, whatever wild laughter, whatever beauty in the far hereafter, whatever and sound, whatever is wanted in the thunders there and now, let that be your need so the heartbeat might resound. This actually does fit into existence very well. The time of our lives is called. Like beads of sweat on a running horse that disappeared behind the hills, where we hear the echo of the hooves but not the running animal. We know eternity by its long extension and not the time of its being. We know infinity by a billion breaths of life and more of the present light, but not the heat where present illumination found its beginning, and not the end of life that passing us by ends beyond our seeing and our knowledge. We cannot know the end of what has not begun within our consciousness. There are flowers that will never be in the gathered years of any existence, and loves that will never know that wilting sigh of heart that gave us birth. Yet there are always beings that seem forever in the sensibility of a moment. Yet there are the infinite and the eternal that we know from the intuition of any moment taken in the breath of our minds. Yet there is the running horse that returns from beyond the hills, and the beads of sweat that drop at our feet, the beads of sweat that drop at our feet into there and not there sands of time.
Thank you.
Thank you. There we go. We're happy. Just as you can see, we have a crowded venue here. I'm going to do a little bit of a slight management, sleight of hand. Could someone take that empty chair and put it right there for a moment? So that way, this way we'll have the person who is up and the person. Yeah. Oh no. Sorry. Yeah. Perfect. So that we have someone on deck, and that way then the transition goes a little smoother. So I would like. Okay. Clara Sue is next, and then Quincy, kindly take the on deck chair, please. Clara Sue, give this person a round of applause as she comes up here.
Thank you so much.
Okay. The first poem is titled Farmer's Market. Heads of onion, purple and white, snuggle side by side with early girl red tomatoes, sliced, a sampling of juicy bites. The carrots slim, the strawberries fat. Broccoli green and charred in a rainbow dress, wait for fingers to pinch them. Yet, 2 stands away, a man plays jazz on a saxophone, twirling notes like a wiggling kite, twirling faces, fruits and veggies with razzmatazz. This is titled Politics. In the polis dwell the politics, in great numbers, odd, even, and slick. They pinch you with their fingers, they trip you with their feet. They sweet talk with their mouths, they bite you if you squeak. Holy police, holy politics, they promise a lobster, but give you the pits. Their tears are genuine, so are their tales. Telltale, tall sales, pell-mell, not quite a royalty, definitely a dynasty. Nasty, these politics. Last one is called, what is it called? I call it A Day in the Sun. A feather in the arms of Bodhisattva reminds me of a day at Stinson Beach when wind-blown sand attacked our conjunctiva and polka-dotted birds had cause to screech. We ate a sandwich in a little hut, then ventured out to raid the tidal pool. The waves brought forth some jewels finely cut. We picked and chose the coolest of the cool. A bearded stone you gave me for a lark, the rest for mailing, driftwood, rocks, a bone. Back to the city, to the softball park, my sweetheart with his bald head brightly shone, sprinting, pitching, cursing in the sun, as children do when they are having fun. Thank you.
All right, and now, as we noted before, we have a newbie coming up, Quincy, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to treat her like that, and then
Allegra.
Oh, I thought it was Quincy. Oh.
Quincy's next, and then Allegra in the.
Oh, Allegra's in the chair. Thank you so much, David. Without him, my brain would be sitting right here in the. So give this person a loud welcome. Said animal noises. I'm the only one that does them around here. I heard a cow though. Thank you, very good. We appreciate that.
That's all I had to think about.
We will know everything.
When she's finished, we'll know everything.
Yes.
All of humanity beats with a singular pulse. The many weak and lengthy veins spread over the surfaces of our homes, the toxins produced inside them curdling its own blood, infecting as it feeds with each flow from every heartbeat. Though we remain lifeless, the heart is still pulsating, disease that incites us, with its symptoms compelling. We continue living and never heeding. We cleverly denunciate the signs of a coming death, and our self-inflicted cancers of fear and hate blind us to a possible healing fate. Cancer, fear, and cancer hate produce the trophy speaking to our known fate. Tumors explode with growth, and the celebration and display of cancerous wealth mislead our man and construe the true state of his health. Now deaf and dumb, the human species turns to directly suckle its cancerous growth, dying and rotting in its own feces. Take heart, young earth, for our passing shall be our first and only act of peace. The universe, please relinquish all signs of our kind, as I pray that our final beating pulse in the human race deceases. That's it.
Oh, okay. I didn't want to make the same mistake twice. I got a second one in there. Robert May goes into the chair. And now Allegra, also new, unless I miss my guess.
And Robert May.
And Robert May is in the chair.
Richard May?
Richard May, sorry about that. You know I'm old.
Richard May not.
Oh, I bet you have. All right, there you go, my dear. You're on, as they like to say in France.
I have two. So this one's called White Noise.
Get really on the mic, though, so you're really close. Yeah, because otherwise it won't come. Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay. Postmodernism is deafening white noise. It's a day so filled with emptiness, I just don't have time for that shit. Nothing matters. We giggle to ourselves with clenched fists so ambivalent you could hardly sense the numb. We are Duchamp's lost toilet seats, unnamed garbage bags piled on a city street. We are 90s kids. So filled with ideas of multiculturalism, student debt, displaced angst, and nominal comfort, we hardly feel a thing. We are garbage faux adults with 40s taped to dirty fingernails, displaced only by our weekday suits, privileged enough for the good jobs, not gobs of wealth, but enough to stuff our minds with concerns of attaining self-actualization. An unfulfilling anxiety, not of the dystopia of Monsanto's control of crops or behemoth tech companies logging our dear thoughts. We are too self-centered for that. Generation Me is still about me, isn't it? We are afraid of the emptiness, of abandonment, of the loss of ourselves, our lives, even our able bodies, which we undervalue, especially on a Friday night. I know there is a part of me, and maybe you too, that craves real loss again, self-destruction, like an addict to heroin or fly to fleeting light, to illuminate some meaning, some reason to fight, to remind me that even a bloody heart proves I can bleed, that I am a human being and I need to survive. See, when torn down, when broken, at least we know how much we want to be alive. At least we feel the fire, even if it burns our inside. At least we have a reason to be. Sometimes the okayness of it all makes it harder to rationalize the melancholy moments, and moreover harder to fight beyond some status quo. It has made dull the survival instinct. Comfort can be a most slow poison, can't it? We want the cacophony to shatter our eardrums and transcend the white noise. We want a reason to be alive, but I guess this is adulthood, and I guess it really isn't so bad. I doubt myself daily, but the most comforting thing I found while pseudo-adulting is not struggle. It's not self-annihilation, it's the paradox that no one can give me directions because they are lost too. See, what makes it also okay is that we suffer from nothing together. What makes it better is we suffer from nothing alone. This one makes no sense, so we'll see how it goes.
Those are the best.
I begin to wonder how everything that could transpire in 1,000 years has done so in a matter of minutes. Reality is gravity, grounding grown adults into the soil like potted plants. Ferns or irises, Venus flytraps and the like, but trying to grow from sunlight hasn't always been easy. Reality has gone to shit in the space-time continuum. I am weightless, arms extended, fateless. Unbeknownst to me, I'm tossing and turning and toppling out of control like a behemoth giant gotten right between the eyes. Like David's Goliath, but I am not the enemy. And as Gladwell posits, I was always the underdog and my days were numbered. From day one. But isn't everyone's? Blind or kept in absolute darkness, outer space is absolutely disorienting. Freeing potentially, limbs flailing unremarkably, nothing is real anymore. And I exist in this universe just as I was born into it, unbearably confused, naked, and understandably lost. 1,000 years pour from the faucet. Time ripples like waves into itself in a current, and I wonder if time is like the ocean, always coming back to the shore, to remind ourselves to keep our distance, that there are winners and losers, that this is all just a story held together by words. The words swirl counterclockwise down the drain, and then I wash my hands. I stand beneath the shower, outpours thousands of petals of various flowers, the echo of colors are unseen by the naked eye before. Each touches my skin and they simultaneously bloom, and I am reborn again in the shower, baptized in my urban dwelling and ready for a new day. I wonder if everything is real and I realize that nothing is. I wonder if any of this is true and I realize the subjectivity of truth. Reality is gravity and I am weightless. If depravity is a rhombus, good deeds are a parallelogram, and in between is trapezoid, I am shapeless, angleless. There is no room for these negative spaces. If this is this what it means to be open-minded? Is this what it means when I was seeking utter confusion? Here I am, standing, or rather floating, with my painstaking gloating of accomplishments that mean little to nothing, with my mantle of woolworts. I wish to say something. I wish to mean something, to provide gravitas to my words, but I am weightless, shapeless, nothingless. I am overwhelmed by all these conflicting thoughts, and as I become everything that has ever existed, in one small instance, the monster hiding inside of your closet and under your bed, this dichotomy ripples through me like your heartbeat after a nightmare. It has only been 15 minutes, but I have lost my keys, my wallet, and my train of thoughts. It has only been 20 minutes, and I just realized my tea has gone cold and I am absolutely derailed. It has only been 30 minutes, and after walking around aimlessly trying to find my teacup, I get back on track, sipping cold chamomile and wondering why I was worried in the first place. Truth is water in death's valley, slipping through my fingertips. My aching body will not be quenched, and I am uncertain what any of this or all of this could possibly mean.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And now Richard May,
and then
followed by Tom Mecca
Tom Mecca to the
on-deck chair.
So this is a
Dang.
piece. This is a piece that I actually it originated here. This will be my second time doing it here, and hopefully I've gotten better at it. It's a monologue from a play that I hope to produce someday. Yo, Jimmy, what's up, man? Hey, how you doing? Hey, think I could borrow a couple of bucks? Yeah, okay, all right, no, that's cool, I understand. Me? Hey, you know, I'm all right. I'm a little depressed. My food stamps ran out, and well, I'm a little hungry. But it's all right, you know. I found some Indian food as I was walking on Church Street, which was great because it not only was free, but it saved me the indignity of going to the mall and scrounging for leftovers. Yeah, I do that. But it's okay, you know, I mean, some of the best meals I've had have been leftovers that I've scrounged from there. The mall, man, the mall. My technique, hey, it's simplicity itself. I walk around as if I'm looking for a friend or, you know, just some place to sit, but I'm really scanning the tables for unattended food trays. Can you dig it? My technique, hey, it's simplicity itself. When I see an unattended food tray, I quickly grab it up, boom, move to another table. I do this because of the looks of disgust I get from the people sitting nearby. I try not to acknowledge these looks, but the truth is that they do register and they do hurt my feelings. I'll tell you what I don't get though. The attitude of the attendants at the food court. When one of them sees me eyeing an unattended tray, it's like we're both in a race, and the finish line is the plate. I've even had some of them try to block my path with their cart, cut me off, and if I win, I get some of the dirtiest looks you can imagine. Whatever. I'll tell you what, it's crazy because they're all minorities, just like you and me, and part of the socio-economic class euphemistically known as the working poor. Me, I try to always see myself as part of a larger whole and not as an individual. I recognize that the division of similar classes of people is a strategy employed by the upper echelon. Yeah, there's motherfuckers. The upper echelon to disempower and manipulate the lower classes like you and me into fighting amongst ourselves. The attendants at the food court, I guess they don't see it that way. America, land of the free and home of the wasteful, where every poor person has the right to grow up and be a busboy. Yeah, all right, man, I'll check you. Hey, how about a buck? How about a buck? I exist. Thank you.
That's me. All right, and this is Tommy. Tommy Mecca, is that right?
I'll be calling Mecca.
Okay. Okay, here we go. Give him around here. You're new. He's new. Oh, you're not new? We don't like he's new. We like the guy. He's excited to come back.
When the alien came, he knew him as lips and tongue and ass. He knew his night hair and his day eyes, his loins of fire and his nipples of sea. He knew his dreams and longings far into the night. When the alien came, he greeted him in flickering candlelight. He poured freshly gathered honey
on their bodies and let their tongues feast. He woke with the taste of stars and planets and the smell of ageless journeys. True story. True story.
Film at 11. I'm not kidding. CNN has it all.
This is a little more somber. It's called Silencing Him, and it's dedicated to Anthony Milano, who was a young gay man who was murdered, fag-bashed in 1986. They slashed his throat countless times, cut through his voice box, cut off his cries. Coroner could not count how many times they cut through flesh and muscle and bone, cutting off any sound except blood spurting, spinning down a drain sound. Not surprising that they cut his throat, cutting off the sound, silencing him. Well, that is a true story. This hole, the size of God, infinite, without beginning or end, without mercy or forgiveness, without time. This aching emptiness, the width of the universe, planetless, without light or dark, without love or hate, without purpose. This abyss, the depth of forever, is my heart now that you're gone. The other true story. That's dedicated to Mario, and he knows who he is. And finally, I'll end with a little remembrance from Catholic school, which I was subjected to, unfortunately, for 12 friggin' long years of my life.
I'm a Catholic. I only went for 2 years.
12 years. This is called the hip priest from the Netherlands. I went to school in the late 60s, so that to put it in context. Placing the shiny vinyl disc on the turntable of the portable record player he always borrowed from the principal's office, he set the needle at the beginning of a particular track. "So, who's the fool on the hill?" he asked after the song played. "John Lennon," I quickly replied. No, it's Jesus," the other kids responded. "No, Lennon's an atheist," I said, "like I am." Oops. Fresh from the Netherlands, where the most liberal thinking the church had ever known erupted like a storm after a long drought, the hip priest made me stay after school every afternoon for the rest of the year to scrape gum from the bottom of desktops and clap huge clouds of chalk dust from the erasers. One day, as I swept the room for the second time, something he insisted on, I asked him if he really thought that punishing me would make me believe in his God. "No," he replied, "but it'll teach you that in this classroom there is still a higher power." I'm still an atheist.
And now we have our very own, Stephanie Manning, and then me. She's first. Oh. Yeah, you first. Oh, no, yeah, I mean, that's okay, I got it.
And people under 80, that's good.
Do you want to which one is What's your name?
So I've been writing a form called Rondo, which is a short form with certain rhyming words. You can look it up on computer.
Nick.
Rondeau, French style.
Oh, the French style.
And so here's it's a 15-line poem. They're short. So I'm going to read 2 rondos and something from that. And this one's called The Death of Worley. Alan, we've been watching an osprey nest via webcam placed there by the Audubon Society in Richmond. And they had the eggs and the 2 babies hatched, and they fledged, actually. And one of them recently, on their first fishing expedition, hit the water badly and had massive injuries and died of her injuries. And her name is Worley, so it's called Death of Worley. There once lived an amazing bird, beloved by many, the one preferred of the two nestlings she kept the watch. From the nest she sought to detach, but her wings so big, absurd. There once lived an amazing bird, watched by many, cheeps were heard, mites and feathers, both chicks would scratch. There once lived an amazing bird, many attempts to fly recurred, giant colored wings would blur, till finally one rose up unlatched, and flew to find a fish to snatch, and met her death upon the bay, sad word, there once lived an amazing bird. This is called Putin, Trump, and Junior.
What's that about?
3 male witches stirred their brew, such a motley, scurvy crew. They brought it to a rolling boil, no one witnessing their toil. Each one knew just what to do to make the perfect poison stew. Lies, deceit, their arrogance grew. Chef Vladimir, chefs most royal, 3 male witches stirred their brew. Double trouble, slant and skew, stories from their point of view. Serve the rich who sell you oil, the Twitter itch to make you boil. Stand back now, 'cause it will burn you. 3 male witches stirred their brew. And Dan just gave me a book of poems here. I was reading them over, and I just like this one very much by the existentialist Jean Cocteau. And this is a translation by the author of his book, David Fisher. I thought this was very poetical. There was at the beginning a very strange corridor. The bull had the head of a young man and numerous blonde curls on his forehead. He was white, knelt down, and refused to play. No one noticed this prodigy, except for a fowler in the first rung of the shadow seats. "But that's a young man," cried the fowler. The Spaniards, wearing sombreros and blue faces, made him shut up. From that moment, he and the bull watched each other and cried in silence.
And now our very own, Dan Brady. On the Brady Bunch.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I am proud to be here. And Swerve. So, these are all new, absolutely brand new. No one's heard them, and they were sourced from a set of poetry prompts. April being Poetry Month, and during that time, if you search out a prompt and try to write a poem every day, and these are the results of that. Some of them are. This is called Forgetful. I do well to forget. I am a champ at it. It does well by me, too. We work it. Forgetfulness and I, we are a team. If only I could remember why. Well, where's that other one?
I'm just coming up to adore you, Dan.
Thank you. My lies adore thee. Remember that song, eh? Yeah. Okay, so this is A Tale of Darkness. It was a dark time, dark in the sense of light gone missing. All the clouds were gloomy and moody, and that was the sky, all of it. It was dark in the sense of humor and criticism. No one cracked a smile, no one complimented another. And movies were dark on dark, with dark effects, dark character, dark humor, and seen through a glass darkly. Film noir was considered colorful, as was black humor. All the covers and all the books were dark. They looked alike. They were the same size and shape. No one read them because, just like the newspaper, they were printed on black paper. It was always eclipse time. The sun was dark. The moon was dark. Dark was the national color. Dark chocolate was the only thing on the menu if you could read it in the dark. There was a blackout all over, and no one noticed any of this except me. Okay, now for the serious things here. The serious. This is called Scars, and this is also from a prompt. Yes, here we go. Scars, tell it like it is, was, at the time, one moment of horror when you become hidden by what they still see of it on you. Any wound is real, a lesson, an instant that becomes years in the making, a book of sorrow, a choir of regrets. Singing in your bones, rows of orderly memoirs have their cemetery echoes, places where the scar hides chime in. No matter how one prays, as one might, for release, there is none from that which never knows time. Out on the water, a sprinkling of rings, insects, fish, some little thing, leaves turning and summer long gone, and if you look close, you'll see them at rest there amid fallen branches or underbrush, clumps of torn up feathery parts, through your frosty breath and the long silence of chilled air. Even the moon has its marks, even the sun, which makes our colorful horizons, wherein one's imagination may see it as they like. Still, your scars inform those who can read them. Not bruised or broken, the night's hidden whimpering and mutters, the child violence left off in the early morning hours, without a mark, without a sign, questions that die in the silence of what is not ever said. The eyes say more for what they've seen, for what they need of love, and all that they might dream for.
Thank you.
And now Richard Sanderell.
The Sanderell, as it were, as we call him. And then we have Sharon. Sharon, kindly come up to the chair, and then the teacher will take care of business, as we like to say in France.
I would like to take a minute if I can, Dan.
Yes.
As some of you know, I recently had a really bad health scare, and I want to thank everybody who supports me, has been supporting me. And I also want to say something about Alejandro Mejia. Alejandro made the mission the forefront of the poetry scene today, and I want to thank him for that. And I want people to know that Kim Shuck now is the new poet laureate, and things are going to start being shaken up in this town. Now we need to take something what Alejandro had started and go to every neighborhood and begin that. We're going into schools, trying to mentor new kids or young kids who have that knack, not to pressure them, but if they want mentoring, we're there. There's a whole lot of other things. Dan's got some great ideas. And the stuff that I've heard people read tonight, I don't care what anybody says. This is the best poetry and storytelling town anywhere. We're going to hear somebody from the mission tonight. And this is what I dream of, and I hope everybody else dreams of, that all the neighborhoods stay vibrant, keep their culture, but let's come out and play. And that's what I'd like to see, you know. So anyway, end the subject. Have a stay tuned.
I got it.
These devices. All right, I have some new ones and some old ones. We'll see how it goes where time allows. This is one of the older ones. We never left the dark ages. Our world is dark. Look at our cultures, movies, religions, politics, wars. We may have learned a few tricks, gained the touch of knowledge, but not much on the essentials of life. The indigenous around the planet who know we kill or maim, just protecting their interests. Shakespeare gave us Macbeth, a warning, a truth. Trust is deceit's best friend, but trust allows itself to be deceived. Give me a kernel of truth of our time. Write us a poem of a love letter that recognizes truth, understanding. Go back to the light, but don't abandon the dark. There are some things the angel of sin can provide that drives those black robes crazy. They would prefer we were all unsexed except pedophile priests and for the appropriation missionary style. Tell me, this isn't still the Dark Ages. Rise, 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 elevate, take us higher, break through, end the Civil War in these dark ages. Embrace, there is no disgrace. Take that to your houses of worship. And I read some of my new stuff last night, but premiered here as well. City of Seven Hills. What keeps me here in the city of Seven Hills? City of ups and downs, backwards, forwards. A Mediterranean town stuck in USA. Out of place on the surface, but still an Usman city. What keeps me tied to the city of seven deadly pleasures? This city of laughter, struggle, tragedy. City of upheaval, revolution that streaks of ugliness, blandness, lameness, creeping in where the sky pilot has two hills dedicated to Grace's Cathedral on Nob Hill, or to St. Mary's Cathedral, also known as Boobs Cathedral, the Maytag washer of churches on Cathedral Hill. Look at the shadows at 10 and 2. You'll understand these names. What keeps you here? What keeps me here? We're 7 days a week in this city of seven arts. Dancers, writers, poets, musicians, playwrights, painters live while they hold on to a city that forgot how to appreciate what they have until they don't. Then they'll turn it into a theme park, a shopping mall, like they did the Hate. Oh, the shows we could have put on, we artists and lovers ever got together. Yeah, we could show the world.
Yeah. Sharon and then our feature.
Sharon and then our feature. Give her a nice round of applause. She hasn't been here in a while. And we'll focus in on her. Beautiful. There we go. I got her.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Teamwork. I tell you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, well, I live in Ashland, Oregon, so the first of these, a couple of these are Ashland poems.
Ooh, Oregon.
Oregon. Okay, this one's called At the End of 4th Street. At the end of 4th Street, 3 people watched in dismay the eastern mountains at the corner of 4th and B Streets. One person leaned against the wall of the yoga center, his attention fixed toward the east. I came here in the muted night to this place hardly anyone comes to after sunset, to see the orange light lines above and far beyond the graveyard railroad. Not artificial light, not the Pacificolor kind, but rather Nightmare on Elm Street light, met in a cinema voyeur's dream, even though we were all too much awake, standing there in an awful silence, watching Grizzly Peak burn. These are poems by Michael Brewer, not me. I forgot. Okay, this is a critter sighting. It's called Owl. What we heard we could not name. The car's mechanical screeching, or possibly a bearing burning to oblivion. 2 neighborhood cats sat on the sidewalk, eyes fixed on maple tree camouflage. The screech was in the tree, but we could not see until later the owl acrobatically clinging to a braided power cable. Definitely a close cousin of the rollhead owl in Captain Jack's transformation in his murdered Modoc incarnation. Alabaster chest, beautiful, simply beautiful. The sheen of dark malachite eyes captured us, amazed, looking upward from the porch, a horizontal move too smooth for us to apprehend its beginning. Then wings unfolding and flipping like precision kites through still air of an absent moon. The silent flight by evolution's perfected hunter, the metempsychosis act of woo, woo. Yes, that's all. Okay, this one, a couple of you may have heard of one of Bill's readings, but this is in response to a term of jury duty, and it's called Bad Oil. The guy worked hard in a place where people bring in bad oil and exchange it for good oil. His female boss loved to watch him work and thought a lot about having him work on her. Maybe even turn her bad oil into new and improved oil. Naturally, there's a husband who is also the other half of the whole boss business. He thought a lot about the oil of profit and the oil of loss. So sex was inevitable as an oil change. The young worker and the older boss lady slushing around in the slick of a very dark pit, whose bottom houses the bolts of divorce court and the nuts of the unemployment line. If you're looking for a moral here, don't look too far. Just remember, if you're needing to change your old oil for some new oil, that sometimes it is better to change your name first or take your needs out back behind the workplace, where the ground of being has nothing new to behold.
Thank you, Sharon. Give her another round, please. Adjust that.
Yeah, I got it.
Whoa,
Hello. Well, now I get to do one of my favorite little things. I get to introduce somebody and compliment them wildly, unabashedly, and unreservedly, while they have to sit there and go. So, he had some clips online, and I looked at those, and then here and there I saw some other things either written by him or about him. And then I said to myself, what if I took each of these things and decided to apply a single or one or two adjectives to each of these things? So, the list runs something like this. Beautiful, caring, considerate, passionate, compassionate, understanding, worthy, helpful, concerned, intellectual, intuitive, feeling, and did I say caring? Did I already say caring? Okay. Then I went back to the beginning. And playful, actually, sometimes. Yes. Playful. This person, Norman Zelaya, is going to speak before you now, a wonderful, hugely wonderful, great poet. I like the guy, I like the work, and I think he'll be well introduced to him. Come on forward here, give this guy the round of applause that he deserves.
Thank you very much. It's wonderful to be here at Sacred Grounds, and I am particularly happy that I have finally made it into Dan Brady's Rolodex. Hear that, kids? I said Rolodex. Google it. I have to say that this is a wonderful atmosphere. This is a familiar environment. This energy is something that I've known for a very long time. This is what a poetry reading is, kids, if you don't know. This is a poetry reading, right? People coming, exchanging words, exchanging ideas, listening to poetry, telling stories. You know, then afterwards, we're all going to drink some mescaline tea and go hear some bebop. You with me?
Yeah.
You with me?
I brought my harmonica.
Light up a joint. Is the reefer still on the back? Is that what it is down?
Yeah. Well,
the reefer in the back.
Yeah.
Google it, kids. Reefer. All right.
Oh, by the way, he has a new book which he's about to introduce. I was going to say that, but
yeah. So the reason why I came back. And I mean, it's been a very emotional thing for me. I mean, this has been 30 years in the making. I started writing when I was 15, and you know, it was one teacher. It was a teacher who said that I had talent and believed in me, and in saying that, you know, she validated who I was as a human being. Right? She validated my voice and believed that I could do what, you know, the people in the books at the time I was reading. You know, Shakespeare, and, you know, Dickinson, you know, all these folks, right? You know, there's, you know, Norman Zelaya from the Mission. Me? I can do that? For real? Crazy white lady, shut the fuck. You know. But you know, but she kept at it. She kept at it. You know, in the summertime, giving me books to read, like challenging as books to read. Man, you know, she gave me like 100 Years of Solitude. Like, you know, the first summer that I met her, man. Like, you don't do that. You don't do that to people. Yeah, I mean, no, not when you're 15 in the summertime, bro. No, man. Yeah, I just want to make some money and I go to the movies and stuff, man. You know, maybe buy some reefer. But she kept at it, and she inspired me, encouraged me, you know, and all these many years later, you know, I finally have a book, so I thank her for that. Next time. Stopping at the 18th and 16th in Mission, a strung-out homegirl reached out to me as I waited in line. I had noticed someone pacing near me, first behind me and then to my side, but I didn't trip. This is 16th Street. I'm home, right? I know what's up. People trip all up and down this street. People gawk, people stare, people look at you all crazy and shit. They take up space and are constantly moving. We all just mind our business, right? Suddenly, she tugged on my sleeve forcefully. Not really aggressive, but with intention, confident. She was familiar with me. She wasn't trying to harm me. She just wanted my attention. Hey, come on. Excuse me? Come on, let's go. She wore a gray zip-up hooded sweatshirt. It was open to the chest, and I saw that she had a white tank top underneath. Her khaki dickies were smudged and sagged. Way too big for her. She kept one hand on her waist at all times. Her cropped black hair was pulled back into a bristly ponytail. Come on! She waved at me to follow her. I didn't move. I stayed in line. This time, she took me by the bicep gently and tried to lead me away. Let's go! Where do you want me to go? Her face was as white as mine, alabaster even. She had a few freckles on her cheeks and many more congregated on her nose. And she had dark, dark eyes. She looked directly into mine, but she couldn't get me. Confused, caught up, a bit frightened because it was like she knew me, but nothing was coming back. She searched and searched in tiny shifts. Man, she was messed up. Her mouth quaked, wanting to talk to me. She just couldn't. All she could muster with both hands on my arm was, let's go, let's go. I can't. Come on, come on. I shook my head a slow no. Please. And she squeezed me lightly, pleading with her brow. She tried to get me out of line again, harder this time. No, I can't. It was my turn at the ATM. Come on, let's go. I want you to go with me. I'm sorry, but I can't. She stood next to me as I slid in my debit card and took care of my business. I deposited one check and then made a transfer from one account to another. She leaned into me, shoulder to shoulder. She brushed the hair over my temple with her fingers and watched intently as my hand typed in numbers. Her eyes were all stars. I touched the return card button and turned to leave. Okay, I have to leave now. She took my hand. Her face was sticky dirty as she had been eating cueritos and meal with her hands, then licked her fingers clean. She was like a little kid. Hey, what's your name? Antonio. Antonio, let's go. Come with me a little bit. I can't today. Next time. Her dark, dark eyes got sorrowful, then shone, but only for a moment. As I walked away, she let my hand slip out of hers like we were exes, like it was good once. It was fiery passion and all kinds of fun until we burned each other out. But we were always able to talk afterwards, right? We could always greet each other. A friendly hug and how are you? It's good to see you. Because we were able to remain cool, you know? We stayed friends. Okay, Tonio. Bye. She had my hand by her fingertips, then finally let me go. She turned around, hiked up her ill-fitting dickies and headed toward this corner at Mission, winding around and searching, always searching, all scattered-minded, stopping to check something in the garbage, in a window, on the ground, jab-stick like to avoid someone when no one was in her way, all helter-skelter, herky-jerky, looking back for me once, twice, then turning around, looking for someone else. So it's been a great experience. Busy, especially in June, and doing a number of readings, and it's nice, going people expecting you and knowing about your book. And I was doing this one reading at Alley Cat Books, which I love. And outside they had that little A-frame with tonight, this event, and then the names of the people performing at the event, and my name was on there.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. It said Noam Celaya. Right? Yeah, and I could have been upset about that, because they got my name wrong. But I mean, you know what? I thought about, that's cool. That's all right. Because it occurred to me that Noam Celaya sounds no less Latino than Norman Celaya. So it was all right. So that night, people who bought books all got signed by Noam Celaya. Those go straight to eBay.
They'll be collector's items.
They will be.
Hey, he may be the future Lord.
Well, yeah, get him while it's hot.
Yeah, all right, here we go. The first 3/4 of a mile are a steady incline switching back and forth along the cliff. The sun isn't quite over the ridge, but the shadows are withdrawing and it's warming up. We're soon covered in sweat. Melly takes long, deep strides. Her eyes track each step. Her breath comes out in brief huffs. You're awfully quiet. I'm counting my steps. Why? If I don't, I'll fall. For real? Yes. I have to go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, or else I'll lose my balance and I'll trip up. No way. That is funny. Same thing when I swam in high school. I had to go stroke, stroke, breathe, stroke, stroke, breathe, or else you sank to the bottom like a shark. I swam out of my lane. Now shut up and let me hike. We continue the rest of the way in silence. The trail warms up more. It's getting hot. The shadow's completely gone. A gorgeous autumn day. At each turn, Melly pushes back her thick, springy curls and silently curses herself. Fucking hair. Finally, we arrive at the top and the trail levels off and we fall into an easy stroll. We stop to look out over the ocean. I hug Melly, pat her ample lips. How are you? I'm good, warm. You have a pretty glow to your cheeks. Melly puts her hands to her face. Damn, she is a handsome woman. Arresting, easy on the eyes. Out of my league, I think to myself. Oh my God, look, look, look! Melly points, and out in the distance I catch a faint spray. It's a gray whale. We watch. After a moment, a second spray comes up close. It looks like her mother and her calf. We watch for several minutes. More sprays come up here and there. That's so wonderful. Can you imagine animals that big, so close? Yeah, they're great. It's strange though, for them to be not migrating this late in the year. Something isn't right. Yeah. Melly's enthusiasm dims for a second, but then several sprays shoot up in unison and she perks up again, claps like a happy little kid. The whales pass and we continue along the trail. How was your week? Cool. Melly bunts me playfully. Lots of the same. Folks come in with a problem, we sit and talk, and hopefully I can help them out. This one guy walks in though. Aha, tell me the cheese man. What happened with this joker? Well, let me tell you. Melly gives me a wink and a nudge. This joker wants help like all the rest. He says he has an issue with the jefe at work and if someone can help him. I say, of course. Adelante, yo lo puedo atender. And I motion for him to sit down. He says, I need to talk to a lawyer. I say, yes, I am a lawyer. I can help you. Well, this joker stays standing. He looks at me. He looks at the chair. Then he looks around the office. I say to him again, please, have a seat. Nada. He remains standing. Finally he goes, can I speak to a man? Now, everyone is out to lunch, mind you. I'm the only lawyer around to help him. I say to him, there is no one else. They're at lunch. But I am a lawyer. He looks around some more. Then he says, what about him in the back? I say, he's the janitor, but you're welcome to talk to him if you like. What did he do? He walked to the back of the office and spoke to the janitor. He would rather get legal advice from the janitor than talk to you. Yes. Holy shit! Happens all the time. They come in, I say, ¿Cómo le puedo ayudar? They want to talk to a man, and I go like this. Millie opens up her arm like a matador. Holy shit, man. Fucking Latinos. Yeah, fuck them. It's not all roses being Latino. If you didn't know that, it's not always easy.
Yeah. But they didn't kill your heart or your intelligence.
Bit by bit, It's been 30 years, man. It's been a process, bro.
Yes.
It's been a process.
I understand.
I'm here in spite of myself sometimes. Looking for... Alright, this is from my homeboy, fellow Catholic school escapee. Domingo fell in love with stories when he was in first grade. He got to listen to a story every day without fail, no matter how his day went. Didn't do his homework, talked too much, was always talking too much, teased, but was just playing, took it along to use the bathroom, said, whoa, shit, twice during the reading of some prophet from some Old Testament who was being convinced cruelly that the Lord was for real, straight up. None of it mattered because the last half hour of the day, he got to sit on the rug with everybody else and listen. Sister Carol was kind. She smiled sweetly, never raised her voice even when he cussed. Domingo, do not take the Lord's name in vain. She had tight brown curly hair that popped out from under her black habit and a long pointed nose. She looked and sounded something like Big Bird from Sesame Street. Tall on her stool, cool in the sky blue, a book held out above our round heads as we listened intently. Followed along as she flipped the pages, pointed to the drawings, had us repeat phrases. It was lyrical. I felt the words move up and down in my ears. I could see the pictures in my mind. Sister Carol was a great storyteller. One time, at the end of a reading, this kid Julio refused to leave the rug. He sat cross-legged, Indian style, and refused to budge. Julio, it's time to go home. But he just shook his head slowly, with a foolish grin on his mug. Julio, it's time, and still just a slow shake of his lemon head. Finally, Sister Carol helped him to his feet. A large, round stain was on the rug where he sat. The seat of his khaki pants was dark and glistening. Julio decided to piss his pants rather than miss the story. Sister Carol was that good. Now, I have to say, so during these past 30 years, I've been trying to write, and publish a book. For the more than 20 of those years, I've been teaching special education here in San Francisco public schools.
Wow.
So, I survived, right? Yeah, made it. Latino, Catholic, and special ed teacher? Holy shit. That is a survivor. So I have to tell you that I have students, that will do that, right? Like rather than stop playing, they will make a conscious decision to poop or pee themselves, then go, inside to the bathroom. And I've seen it happen. Right, so I'm on the yard, it's yard duty, right? My kids are out there, looking for something to do, and they're ready to play, right? And then the hula hoop goes rolling across the yard. Yeah, hula hoop, man. chase that hula hoop. He comes back and like, grab that hula hoop, you know. And they start to run, and then he stops. Because it occurs to him, you know, I either have to pee or take a shit right now. But the hula hoop comes back, and he's like, oh, it's torn. Should I go all the way inside, or should I do the hula hoop? And he's running off to the hula hoop, man. You know, then they'll do it on purpose, right? And then they'll come back to the classroom, and then they'll say, oh, maestro, I have to go to the bathroom. And then that's the teachable moment, right? I go, no. You had to go to the bathroom. Past tense. It's been a wild ride, man. It's been a wild ride. So I want to thank you. Give yourselves a round of applause for being here. I think it's wonderful that you all have been here every Wednesday since 1972. You guys are troopers, man. So Orlando and Other Stories, published by a small press out of Oakland, you know, local folks, you know, looking to put out people who, you know, are on the margins, I guess, you know, people that need to be heard, according to that. So Pochino Press is out of Oakland, check them out. I only have a few books with me tonight, so you guys are gonna have to fight to the death for anyone. Right? That's entertainment, man. Yeah. So I have a few, but for those of you who still want to get a book and you can't get them tonight, you can go to pochinopress.com or Amazon, Salsa Amazon. Go ahead and do that. So I'm gonna read a little bit to close from the title story, Orlando. And what I wanted to do, my intention with this book, and it began with this title story, I needed to make a connection, you know, with the folks, with the victims of the Post nightclub, you know, incident. When I saw the pictures of those folks, you know, it hurt me, it stunned me, it stayed with me. You know, and I was like, you know, those are my people. Like, that's me. Like, I am them. And I needed to make a connection from, you know, my community to their community. And I needed to remember that. You know, so this is for them. You know, once again, I want to just thank all of you for coming out tonight.
All right.
Rolando was an overactive kid, excitable. But to his father, my brother Marcel, he was hyper, always running around picking up stuff for a minute and then running to some other part of the house. And my brother could tell where Rolando was at all times because he could hear him screaming bloody murder because of some shit with his brother Ernesto, and then laughing like the devil as he got away after getting his brother back. Rolando was always raising up a storm, temperamental, never sat still. And when he was still, like to draw, he knelt, so he had to raise up when he said something, anything. It didn't matter who was there to hear. He just made some comment like, "Red sucks. If you only got a red crayon, that sucks. You gotta have more colors." And if no one was around, Rolando would just start screaming for his father until he came. "Pa! Papa!" Rolando was wild, untamed, never almost rest, man. According to my brother, he was fucking mental, as we used to say as kids in the neighborhood. He played too much, messed around too much, teased his big brother and older cousins too much. He jibber-jabbered to no end, man. He was volatile, mercurial, but in a good way. Rolando was lively, full of it, didn't do anything half-assed. He threw himself into whatever mess fun he could get into with unbridled enthusiasm. Sometimes reckless, once in a while dangerous. That fucking kid, Marcel would say, rolling his eyes and shaking his head. Holy shit! Unable to muster up anything else except for that fucking kid. And then a chuckle, not being able to help himself because at the heart of it all, the little dude was exceptionally funny, had a wit beyond his years, and my brother often told me that Orlando reminded him, that many family members said Orlando reminded them of me. Marcel would raise his brow and wag a finger at me and say, "Just like you, man. Especially you got temper, loquacious, constantly ruminating, always coming up with shit.
easily triggered and got mad to tears, but sassy and charming, a fucking whippersnapper, as the English used to say, and some fucking long ass time ago. He was precocious, and I often told Orlando I knew he was gunning for his tío, Tonio. You ain't me, young blood. I know I'm not you. I'm me, he snapped. But I see you trying to be like me, think you funny, think you hip, but you ain't slick, sobrino. Yeah? Susote, what? And he would step to me like he knew anything about barrio culture. Little soft-ass suburbanite Nika, but all up against me. His little bony chest puffed out. He was built just like Marcel, who I saw in Orlando. Fists out to his sides and chin up in the air like a Hollywood cholo. Then I'd smother him in a bear hug and jab him playfully in the ribs, whispering, "You ain't so bad. You ain't so bad." It was late in the afternoon when Tonya finally sat down and caught some news. He asked Melanie if she had heard what had happened in Orlando. Yes, she said. She heard about it early in the morning. The radio cut the music to break the story. 49 people dead. I saw another report from the continuous television coverage on the TV above the treadmill. But this one was different, in particular because the faces of the dead were finally broadcast. It struck me how young the majority of the victims were. How young and beautiful and promising and happy they were. Stanley Almodovar, 23. Oscar Aracena, 26. Omar Capo, 20. Peter O. Gonzalez Cruz, 22. Juan Ramon Guerrero, 22. My eyes welled up and something leapt out of me when Rolando's face came on a little more than halfway through the slideshow. Rolando Antonio Padilla, 21. It had been almost a week and I had been trying to keep things together like Marcel wanted for us to do. Marcel wanted to find peace quickly. There was a small gathering in brief service because nothing could ever suffice. It would never be right. So the best thing for everyone was to get on, man, and let go. He didn't want to hear it anymore. As sudden as everything had occurred, he would spend as much time in grief. Fuck everybody. He was done. So everybody should do the same. All right, blood. If you need me, I'm cool, bro, he said. I know, man, but for whatever reason, blood. And he said he was cool. But I need you too. We're all in pain. Not like me, bro. Okay, Marcel, but I'm here. I'm around. And he waved me off and sent me back on my path. Got me into my routine and finding ways to distract myself. Walking, running, and making sure I got to the gym by a certain hour. But it was too soon. It would forever be too soon. And I cannot still the hurt and then hold back the tears to the broadcast rolled. Marcel said Rolando had been struck 4 times. Once through the cheek that fragmented his beautiful boy, ruined his perfect smile. That's why he decided to have Rolando cremated, because he couldn't stand for anyone else to see him in that condition. That was not Rolando. It wasn't who he had become. And Marcel wanted to keep that perfect smile intact for everyone else. But then, as the faces slid by, and each image had a sincere smile, or a shy grin, or a selfie sneer, I began to smile myself. Bigger the more I thought of that precocious little boy, a joyful fury, aggressive and rough, kind and thoughtful. That little boy used to gun for me and try to outwit me, that grew into a man taller than me, which wasn't saying much, as Rolando used to say, reminding Theo Toyo that he was a bitty-ass dude, Theo Pipsqueak, Theo Small Fry. As I ran, I began to laugh out loud as I picked up the pace, feet pounding hard, thinking about that young face, how funny he was, how accomplished he was, how proud Orlando made us all. I would have that with me always. My prima hermana Marisol used to say that she was fearful, seriously afraid of the day that our grandmother would die. For the day Marisol was born, our grandmother loved her infinitely. It was an enormous love that would not end after death. Marisol knew that our grandmother would follow her even after she died, and Mari was fearful to turn around one day and see our abuela Mercedes standing there. Man, I hoped it would be like that with Rolando. That I would be walking down the street in the Mission, which was appropriate because the Mission was always the stomping ground for our dear ones, and I would see him. I was enormously thrilled and pleased at the thought of turning one day to find Rolando dashing around a corner, snickering, playful, forever playful. Thank you.
Norman Zelaya, ladies and gentlemen. Stand up. Where do you turn it off? Oh, well, I'll show you.
All right, so we're going to take like a 5-minute break. We have many fine poets still coming up here. I was going to list the name, but I'm looking at the clock, so when we come back, we're going to try to get everybody, and if you're in, you're on. If you're on, you're in.
You want to be in?
And we'll take care of that
Yeah,
as time
space
goes on.
for
We
me.
might have to cut the time to like 4 minutes,
think
just
you
so
have
you know.
space.
And
We'll down here.
we'll be back.
right.
And that the camera will be off so you can talk as you might like.
All right.
Truck babies. So yeah, oh wow, you don't have room for me tonight. I go away for 3 weeks and look what happens. You've been stepping out with other poets, haven't you? I'm very shocked and suspicious.
This is how you do it. Okay, so like this is, you touch this.
Yeah.